Hello and good evening everyone. Welcome to the show Tea Talks. Today we have a guest from the field of science, Dr. Suhas Shetty, who is an oceanographer at National Institution of Oceanography at Dona Paula. Welcome sir.
Thank you.
There are many achievements to speak about him, but the most highlighted one is that he is the first person from Goa who visited North Pole, that is Arctic, and South Pole, that is Antarctica. Sir, how was your experience being there?
I was lucky to be part of Indian Antarctic as well as Indian Arctic expedition. Two poles, two different experiences. Antarctica is much tougher, like the challenges if you look, and the science also if you want to do. Like the variations that you get in Antarctica are more drastic compared to Arctic. If you start from Goa, which is like 17 north, like 15 north, and you are crossing the equator and you are going to like 69 or 70 degrees south, each degree is like 110 kilometers. So imagine the degrees that you are covering, and the rough weather, because Southern Ocean is known for rough weather, cyclones.
Yeah.
And then you go there and then you have this low temperature. When I went, our first station there at Lasman Hills was being constructed, so I could see the station construction, and more importantly, like I got the opportunity to use the helicopter more, because during that time the focus of India was more on station construction and not on science. So that gave me the opportunity to use the helicopter. So using that helicopter I could cover many Antarctic lakes which no other country has done so far. I could cover 85 lakes in Antarctica. I think that is a big study. I'm yet to publish it, but if you compare it with any other country, Australia or China or Russia, who are neighboring countries to us in Antarctica, I think that is a huge study, and I am happy that I could, because whenever you work in Antarctica, it is not your study, it is India's study. So I feel proud for that. Arctic, all our Indian studies are based on one fjord. Fjord is like a estuary. Our Mandui, Zuari, similar you have a fjord, but instead of the river water, you have the glacial melt water. So our studies there are on one fjord called as Kongsfjorden, and that is much easy, like what we do here with our small boats. So we do sampling in that fjord, and also all the stations of other countries are nearby. That means you have a common mass. And then compared to Antarctica, because Antarctica, our station nearby, if you want to go to the nearby station, it is like 1 hour with the helicopter. So India is the only station there. Near us are Chinese, so you have to take 1 hour by helicopter. That means in any emergency, whatever resources you have there, you have to use those resources. Whereas Arctic, there many options are there. You can fly also nearby countries like Norway, and you can get the support. Then study wise, Antarctica, like we could do many more, like Antarctic Lake, as I said. Then the fast ice is very important study which I started, because when you cross the ocean and go towards the continent, there is a ice which freezes, and below that ice there is a water column. That means if you go on that ice, actually the ice thickness is so much, like 2 meters, you can walk on that ice. But below that ice there is ocean, around 200 meters of ocean, and that is like very cold, minus 1.5, minus 2. So what I did was I drilled that ice. I drilled that 2 meter ice and I collected samples from underneath that. That is a totally different new kind of study, because earlier studies are based on polar ice core studies. That is a different. You go on the Antarctic continent and you drill that ice. But this is like you're drilling ice below which there is an ocean, and you're sampling that. Now that is important, because that water below that ice is not in the contact with the atmosphere for like 1 year or 2 years. That means whatever build-up is there, biological production is there, that gases will not diffuse into the atmosphere. So I found that the oxygen was like 10 to 11 ml per liter, whereas maximum that we get in our water is like 4.5 or maybe 5 maximum in our Arabian Sea or Bay of Bengal. Whereas I reported there up to 10.5 or 11 ml per liter. That is huge. And similarly, the other gas, that is CO2, that was very low, like less than 50 micro atmosphere, whereas we get here 400, 600.
How you prepared yourself?
When you go in this such kind of high altitude condition, and you have to be prepared. So what India does, they take us to like high altitude training in Auli in Uttarakhand. So there are all type of slow acclimatization training they give you, walking on the snow, and they make you run, make you walk so much with like weights. So you are prepared. So that was actually useful, because when you go to the lakes, the helicopter will drop you at one point, but then you have to, those are big islands, you have to go everywhere, and sometimes what happens is that helicopter will drop you and it will go, and then it all depends on the weather. If the weather is bad, the helicopter cannot come to pick you up, and also all your medical is done at AIIMS in Delhi.
You have worked on various topics in past. Which topic you found most interesting and why?
Drilling that sea ice was the most interesting thing, I think, because people have not tried that. Actually, you are drilling that ice on which you are standing. That is too risky also. And when you walk on that ice also, it is very risky, because there are seals, and those seals, they make holes which are same size of you. And when there is fresh snow precipitation deposition, you won't know where is that hole. So you can suddenly go down.
Currently, on which topic you are working on?
For 2014, I came back to NIO. So NIO's mandate is to work on the Northern Indian Ocean. So my focus has shifted to now Northern Indian Ocean. So now, like, since my PhD was on oceanic PCO2, so I try to see the impacts of this PCO2 or CO2 on the marine organisms. Main objective is to finally help in reducing the emissions, or like to decrease the levels of CO2 in the atmosphere. That is my main aim. It is like a plants only. Ocean also take up atmospheric CO2 like the way plants do. Plants also require nutrients, fertilizers, so we give fertilizers. Similarly, oceans also, different regions in the ocean, they are devoid of a particular type of nutrient. So when you supply those oceanic regions with those nutrients, you can increase the productivity. But it is not straightforward. It doesn't mean that if you increase the productivity, it will take in more. But you have to see the consequences of that more production also. So now we have submitted one proposal to like Ministry of Earth Sciences, in which we have found a new strategy of increasing the production without having consequences on the water column.
All over the world right now there is awareness about climate change, and yesterday also it rained even if it was winter season. So what would you like to say about it?
See, each year we are emitting like 3 ppm more CO2. They have already crossed like 411, 12 ppm. So, but the growth rate is more important. Growth rate is more than 3 ppm per year. Now, when I started my research here in NIO, it was like we used to use the atmospheric values like 365, 370. Today, if I want to use, it is like 412. So you can see within the short span of time, it has increased by like 30 to 40 ppm. Now this CO2 is directly proportional to the temperature. Temperature also has increased by like 0.6 or 0.7 in one decade. Now these changes are huge. So these changes are leading to these changes in our weather. You see many cyclones coming up. Earlier, especially in Arabian Sea, we didn't have these cyclones. More cyclones were there in the Bay of Bengal. But then the numbers of cyclones in both these basins has increased drastically now.
And the last question, what advice you would like to give to young budding scientists?
To our young born students, what I see is that our Goa is a small state compared to other states in India, but we are so lucky to have two of the best research institutions in our country, both National Institute of Oceanography in Donapola and National Center for Polar and Ocean Science in Vasco. Apart from that, we have a Goa University also that is having a program for marine sciences. So you people are so lucky that you can do your BSc in any stream and then join marine science, and then you have these two institutions to continue your work.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. It was nice talking to you. So that's all for today's Tea Talks. Stay tuned for more such amazing interviews.